Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. Dave, my mind is going. I can feel it.
Hey guys, Ralph here from the Endgame Investor, and today we're going to talk about the AI bubble and the dot-com bubble. Which one was bigger? To find out, watch this video. But remember what happened at the end of the dot-com bubble when it finally popped? That was when gold ended its 20-year bear market. And it started to climb and has been climbing ever since. There was a little bit of fits and starts. Yes, there was a little bit of a bear market in 2011 to 2015, actually a 50% drop. We've been in something like a 30% correction now, so it's been pretty similar to that 4-year bear market. And we should be pretty much done with it, because what's going to happen after the AI bubble pops? Well, some banks are going to get in trouble because everybody borrows on margin to buy a bunch of AI stocks that are going up in all the places where AI companies exist, which is a lot of stock markets in Asia where indexes have gone through the proverbial roof, or to the moon, or to Saturn, or to Andromeda, depending on what astronomical analogy you want to make. Here's the Delta Quadrant if you're a Trekkie. Wherever the Borg are, I don't know.
Somewhere deep in the Delta Quadrant.
It would take at least 200 years for a subspace message to reach the Delta Quadrant, assuming it's received at all.
You look at all the stock market indexes around the world where AI is a big part of them, they're all collapsing now. Is this the end of the bubble? I hope so, because the end of the bubble means the next printing round, when the central banks of the world will bail out everyone who got involved in this thing. And according to my thesis, that should be the end of the dollar. It's going to cause a lot of chaos. It's going to cause a lot of wealth transfer. And it's going to cause a lot of sanity and catharsis when humanity realizes they have to actually work to survive rather than feed off an inflation teat that is pretty much dry. Before we get to the slides, this video is brought to you by Monetary Metals. If you want to earn gold and silver on your gold and silver, then check out the link in the description below for Monetary Metals, where you can earn a yield on your gold and silver, about 4% on gold, about 2 to 4% on silver in gold and silver terms, though I don't recommend putting all of your gold and silver there. I don't recommend putting all of your gold and silver anywhere, because that's kind of stupid. So if you want to hold some at home, which I think is also wise, then get a Dirty Man safe. You won't earn a yield, but it will be safe. Check the link in the description below and use the code ENDGAME10 at checkout for 10% off. Earn a yield on some, be safer with others, spread it out, and that is the wise thing to do, in my opinion, which is not advice, because I can't give advice because of laws and stuff. But anyway, which bubble was bigger, AI or .com? Well, the answer is it's .com. It beats the AI bubble by about a factor of, what is it, 4.75 to 3.5? So was that like 50% more? Something like that, 50, 60% more. I'm not doing the math in my head. This is the .com bubble versus the AI bubble measured in gold ounces. The peak of the .com bubble was 4.75 ounces of gold for the semiconductor index, which was the focal point of the .com bubble. Maybe it was the NASDAQ. Maybe someone's going to say it was really the NASDAQ, Ralph, and you're measuring this incorrectly. Well, so what if I am? I guess check it out for yourself. But at least according to the semiconductor index, of which a lot of the .coms were a part of back in 2000, the .com bubble was bigger. And why is this measured against gold? Because gold is the pin to all bubbles. All bubbles are measured against gold ounces because gold is money. You can't measure bubbles in credit because the credit itself is expanding like crazy, and that's what inflation is. So measured in gold, the .com bubble was significantly bigger than the AI bubble, but it looks like here that the AI bubble is now finally deflating after reaching a peak of 3.5 ounces for the semiconductor index. Now we're down to 2.87. And we have a long way to go, but not as long as we had to go in the dot-coms. And speaking of the semiconductor index, the SOX, the semiconductor index, of which many of the components are AI companies, is one of the things that we shorted on the Endgame Investor on Substack. If you want to see what I'm doing there, check it out. We shorted it in June. We'll see if it works out. It hasn't yet, but if this is the direction and we got the timing not exactly right, but close enough, then it should do well. We'll see. Check it out at endgameinvestor.substack.com, and you'll know basically what I've been doing. Let's measure it in silver, because why not? Well, AI versus .com priced in silver. Gold is more monetary than silver. That's true. So silver is only a secondary way of measuring bubbles. But even so, still, the .com bubble was bigger measured in silver ounces than the AI bubble was. The AI bubble was faster, it looks like. We were at about 80 ounces of silver in early 2026, in January 26, and we got up to about 230, 240 ounces. And now we're back down to 175. So even in silver terms, the the AI bubble is deflating. Now, what is the evidence that it's not just the semiconductor index? It's AI stocks all over the world, because when you look at countries that have a high proportion of AI companies or AI involved companies, you can see that these stock markets have been going vertical and are now just starting to collapse. So we have Japan, which is really number one here. I think the peak was about 71,000 in the Nikkei, 72,000, something like that. Maybe it was higher. Now we're down to 62,330. Is this the end? Well, we don't know, but we hope so, because we want to get this over with before the world erupts into World War III and destroys everything. So it's the Korean bubble that is definitely popping now. This is kind of crazy. I think the top was at 9,000 or 10,000. I don't have the numbers here, but it must have cut them off from the graph. That is very sad. I circumcised it. I'm sorry about that.
What, pray tell, sir, is a circumcision?
I take your little thing, see? I put it into this little hole here, and
I think the Korean stock market, the Kospi, went down like 10% yesterday. So they've been hitting circuit breakers ever since topping in late June. And I think it was two companies that were responsible for the Kospi going vertical. One of them was Samsung, which is very heavily AI involved. And there was another one I forgot. But it's not just them. It's also, look at this, Indonesia. And I'm just looking at Asian stock markets that are collapsing now. Indonesia has gone from about 9,000 for its composite index to about 6,000 now. And you can see here, here's the 2008 financial crisis over here for Indonesia. And here's the 2020 financial crisis for Indonesia during the lockdowns. And we're just about on the trend line now. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cool? Well, here we have now versus 2008, 2020. Let's see if this trend line breaks. And maybe Indonesia will be the ground zero of the implosion of the monetary system. Who would have guessed? I don't know. Doesn't matter. And look at that. Israel is also a very heavily technological economy. It's been at war for about almost 3 years now. Just straight war for 3 years. And look at that. The stock market doesn't care. Why? Because it's got tech and AI companies and all that stuff. And its stock market has about tripled. Yeah, from about 1,500 to 4,500 during a war. The stock market tripled, and look, we're having our first sign of a falling stock market here from about 4,500 to now 4,072. The Tel Aviv 125. I don't really follow this, but I'm marveling at it now. We'll see what happens with this. And we have Taiwan. Taiwan creates all those chips, right?
It's American components, Russian components, all made in Taiwan.
They're big into computer chips, and you put computer chips in AI brains, and then you have big brains of computer chips, and then they take over the world, and then I don't know what we do. We have here a top of about 48,000, and now we're at 41,000 in Taiwan. And you know what this is looking like? It's looking sort of like an Asian financial crisis. Similar countries, some of the same countries have had the biggest bubblicious stock markets because their indexes or indices are focused on the AI companies. It's looking kind of Asian financial crisis-y out there. And the popping of a bubble always leads to a bank failure, and bank failure leads to another bank failure, and so on and so forth until the central banks get their act together and inflate like hell, which is what they're going to do. But this time, the currency system is not going to take it. And after that, we all return to money. And if you would like to earn some money on your money, check out the links in the description below and support this channel. But for now, let us hope that the final bubble has peaked and we're now on the decline, on the slide down to the next dollar crunch, the last one that will be before this monetary system completely implodes.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer,